You to Eddie Hearn and all his supporters of AJ. We're not bothered about Anthony Joshua, one iota. And here's what you can do. If he wants a fight in June, get it ready for June, Eddie. We'll take him as a warm-up fight in. We value Anthony Joshua that much, we'll take him as a warm-up fight in June. So get your arse in gear, get everything needs doing done, and we'll take him in June. We'll have the first fight with him. Because Tyson is fighting twice this year, but we'd like AJ to be the first one on the butcher's block. So get your arse in gear, mate. Wave your magic wand and let's get this fight started. Because nobody's bothered about you or AJ in any way, shape or form. AJ up first, chopping block June. And if you can't put up, shut up. Do that.
Wow. Those are the words, once again, of John Furey. John Furey says that, hey, this is for the Eddie Hearn supporters, Anthony Joshua. We want the fight in June. Tyson Furey, he wants his son to fight twice this year. Now, and he says, hey, we value him. We'll use him as a tune-up. Okay. Put up or shut up. Let me counterpunch. Okay. I know people are getting impatient. You can tell because see, John Furey's saying we. He's saying we. He's not necessarily, and then really Tyson Furey's not really talking too optimistic these days. So his father is saying, hey, we will fight and we want to fight. It doesn't matter if it's Joshua Furey, whoever it is. Okay. The counterpunch. If it doesn't matter who the fuck it is, why hasn't Tyson Furey already fought? Okay. Why hasn't Tyson Furey already had that fight with Aget Kabayel? Okay. Because even if he couldn't fight him last year, he could have at least had him for a tune-up this year. And on top of that, okay, you're going to use Anthony Joshua as a tune-up on a 2-fight deal. That doesn't make sense because you guys remember, Tyson Furey already signed for a 2-fight deal. The only problem is now there's no date, there's no venue, right? So that's the problem. And you're talking about, oh, well, we'll use him as a tune-up. That tells me right there, okay? Them saying stuff like that, if Tyson Furey, like I've always told you guys, if Tyson Furey wins, he won't fight again. He doesn't fight rematches. He doesn't defend anything. What he does is he goes and does these, he plateaus and he makes these goals for himself. And then after that, nothing else is consistent. Look at Wilder, for example. I know more than anybody else, or just as well as anybody else, that Tyson Furey and Deontay Wilder had their first fight. A lot of people think he won. However, the official ruling was a draw. So technically, Tyson Furey has only beaten Deontay Wilder one time. Once. Okay, and then if you notice, what happened? He didn't get what he's supposed to got under some weird circumstances. And what I mean weird, okay, the contract expires, which was dumb on Team Wilder's side. If that was the overall case, if it expired, right, that was dumb because they should have been paying attention to the deadline in the contract instead of allowing the networks to push it back. Okay, that's only fair. But if you notice, he was so easily to get out of that fight. And if you really look at it, if fighting Wilder was such a thing that he had to do, and it was so easy to do, and he wasn't going to pay Wilder step-aside money. Remember that? Because he already agreed to fight Anthony Joshua in June. And he went on record saying, I won't give Deontay Wilder shit. I'm going to give him another ass whooping. This is what I'm saying. If he was going to do that, why didn't he just do that instead of get another Aget Kabayel? Because see, now he didn't fight anyone. He didn't fight Wilder for the third time. He didn't fight Aget Kabayel either because of money reasons. Right now, all of a sudden, what Deontay Wilder said was okay. Oh, well, all forgiven. Sticks and stones. But it wasn't sticks and stones when you didn't want to fight him again. Maybe that was an emotional reaction that he had at the time. I get it. But at the end of the day, it makes it look real bad since you ain't fought no one at all. And it goes back to what John Fury's saying all that to say this. John Fury's expecting a 2-fight deal between him and Anthony Joshua to just be pushed and rushed along because he's worried about his son, and he's saying, well, we'll have a tune-up. That tells me already that you're worried about a tune-up. And I question, okay, well, hey, I will be the guy, Anthony Joshua will be the guy that I warm up on. Okay, well, if that's the case, if you are okay with being Anthony Joshua being the first fighter, why are you trying to push it so? Because again, it's not Joshua's fault that you and your team didn't fight. It's your networks and your greedy, janky ass promoters. That's the reason, or another unknown reason. Okay, so because that myth is flying around out there, that narrative. Oh, it's Wilder this, but that's a totally different video. Okay. Now him saying, "Hey, put up or shut up," and it's like that. They're getting this tells me that these guys are getting impatient. They're getting impatient with the negotiations, with the possibilities, with the different options. They are getting impatient. Didn't we just hear of John Fury not too long ago saying, "Oh well, hey, my kids, we call the shots." Okay, fine. If you call the shots, why are you? Both guys are signed. Why aren't you guys trying to look for a venue? So what doesn't make sense to me, John Fury's saying what Eddie Hearn should do, but then Eddie Hearn is only one part of the portion of another side. Okay, he should be talking about Bob Arum and Frank Warren, what they need to be doing, because that's Tyson Fury's promoter, Counterpunch. So why are we hearing this from Eddie Hearn? This old Team AJ, put him on the chopping block. We'll use him as this. We'll use him for that. That doesn't make sense because you're supposed to fight him twice. Well, fine. And that lets me know that there's no, like I said, there's no guarantee that Tyson Fury, if he beats Anthony Joshua any kind of way, if he walks away with a decision, he will never fight Joshua again, or anybody twice for that matter. Because let's look at the trend. Look at the Klitschko. He didn't get his rematch. With Deontay Wilder after he lost, obviously he ain't got his rematch yet. I know his people please wanting to see that, but as of right now, he hasn't got that yet. Okay, so if Anthony Joshua takes an L from Tyson Fury, he won't get that either. But I don't like how John Fury is trying to push this regarding to one side. He's trying to tell Eddie Hearn what Eddie Hearn needs to do when he should really be addressing everyone. Because this is a joint effort. This ain't just Eddie Hearn. It ain't like Tyson Fury signed with Eddie Hearn and it's Eddie Hearn's bullshitting because he both has Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua and he's promoting both of them. Therefore, it's all up to him to look for these particular dates and the venue. That would be a totally different story. What John Fury's saying is, hey, Eddie, get me or put up or shut up. But then it's like, okay, well, why aren't you addressing Bob Arum and Frank Warren, which are the co-promoters together, joint promoters that promote your boy? Okay. And his name is Tyson Fury, your son. So we're hearing Eddie this and Eddie that. It just sounds like a bunch of bullshit because it's like, okay, if Eddie was the overall problem and they've both signed, why aren't you going after the other guys? That means either one thing. That means it could mean he ain't mentioning Frank Warren or Bob Arum because they don't really they're not the A side. And actually they're putting everything on the A side, which is Anthony Joshua. So that's another thing to debunk the whole idea that Tyson Fury's calling shots. If you have to worry more about the opposite guy's promoter, there's nothing else they could really do besides find someone that's going to cite the fight in the midst of a pandemic. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of John Fury's put up a shut up message to Team Joshua and Eddie Hearn. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys be Counterpunch. Peace.